Hello, Peoria Heights. It's only mid-February and it looks like February outside, but we know you can feel it. Spring is just around the corner, and baseball and St. Patrick's Day and eating outside on Restaurant Row and the Courtyard Summer Concert Series, and we can't wait. Can't wait to get to our guest today. Sarah DeVore is a member of the Peoria Heights Village Board and a local businesswoman. Sarah, glad to have you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Good. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and what brought you to this point in your life.
Oh man, a little bit about myself. Like you said, I am a business owner here in this town. I am been...
Aura, we should
Oh
say.
yes, I am...
Free plug, we got to give a plug.
One of three owners of Aura Salon, located in the 4500 building. We've been there almost 2 years. It's doing very well, very successful. So I am a hairstylist. I have been I went to college first and then went to beauty school to become a hairdresser.
Sure.
I also am an educator. I'm one of 6 color ambassadors for all of North America for the product line that I use. So that's something I'm very proud of. I'm married. I was born and raised in the Heights. I did leave for a short time, and then my husband and I decided to come back. So that's just kind of what brought me back into doing all this, having my business here and just being back in here.
So what brought you back to the Heights?
Where'd
you go, first of all?
Well, so when I left the Heights, I went to Western Illinois University. Then I lived in Peoria while I went to beauty school. And then my husband and I lived in Peoria County for the first 3 years of our marriage. And then an opportunity came up for us to purchase a home that was near and dear to my heart, like here in town. And so we took that opportunity, and we have been remodeling it since we've bought it. We'll have been there. We just hit 5 years that we've been there.
Oh, good.
Lots of remodeling on it, loving being a part of this community. But the choice to purchase that house was, 1, because I had an emotional attachment to it, and 2, because we were young and we didn't have kids. It was very easy for us to walk around. My business was located here. Even though Aura wasn't open, I was still running a hair business in this area. So it just it was the right choice for us to be here. It just gave us the right environment. Plus, since I was born and raised here, I know a lot of people, and the community itself was important to me.
So talk a little bit about growing up in the Heights and what that was like for you.
Oh man, I loved growing up in the Heights. I recently have reconnected with some childhood friends that we had lost contact with, and we were actually just talking about how different it is from other kids to the way we were with our neighbors. Like the moms were another mom to us, or we were like siblings more than friends. So we have this connection that a lot of people don't understand. I think that's because we were in a smaller community, and all of our moms were on the PTA. They all volunteered, or were room moms or sport moms or whatever. So we just were always together. I feel like we had this sense of town pride that I'll never forget. And
yeah, that seems to be really, I mean, not unique to the Heights. I think a lot of people have pride in their community, but there's something special about that here in the Heights, it seems to me.
Yeah. I feel like we've gotten away, for a while we've gotten away from it, but we're working our way back into that. But that was that's such a crucial part of who I am as an adult. Like my husband doesn't understand it, but my sister does, so it's hard to try to express that to other people.
Where's your husband from?
He actually is from the Aurora, Naperville area.
Okay, sure.
And then his dad was transferred here with Caterpillar. So then he spent the remainder of his youth in Dunlap.
Okay.
So it's not the same. He doesn't get the small town vibe that we had and the compassion and love we had for each other.
So did you go to Peoria Heights High School then, or?
I did go to Peoria Heights High School. So I went to Kelly Avenue Grade School and then to Peoria Heights High School. Okay.
So you're not only a resident, but you're a business owner here, co-owner. So tell me, what it's like to own a business in a town like this, or why you decided to invest back in the community.
To own a business in a town like this, I think you have a lot of support. So having the businesses close to each other or closer, we have some support in a community within each other. So I share a wall with Edge Restaurant, and we have a great relationship with them. They help support us. We support them. I like having that. We are part of the Chamber of Commerce here, and just to have that support, you don't feel like you're alone. Like taking on a small business is so scary.
As I've learned in the last year and a half, it is.
Yes,
Absolutely
it is. So having that support and the other people to like run ideas off of, or people that have been in this community forever and know how to make a thriving business, it's nice to have that.
Yeah.
For me also, you asked like why coming back into this community for it. It's centrally located, which is great for my clients.
Yeah.
I like to live here, so it's close to work. So there were lots of benefits to having it here on top of having this wonderful community. And I think
it has a momentum.
Yes,
right
it's
now.
growing.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
it's growing.
So, yeah. So what prompted your interest in public service?
Oh, boy.
Talk about it's a hard decision to open a business, right?
Yeah.
It takes a certain amount of courage. It also does to run for elective office and
It
subject
does.
yourself to the whims of the public, right? I mean, it's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I had told you, I do have, I have a lot of pride in this community. And so when my husband and I moved back, I really kind of just fell back in, like I never left. And so I had some opinions about things, and I met with Mayor Phelan and had a pretty extensive list of questions for him, and he asked me if I wanted to be involved. And I guess I don't know if I never thought that like I was worthy enough of it, or if I was intelligent enough for it. So when he asked me, it kind of threw me off, but I was very intrigued. I was like, yes, I'd love to. So he asked me if I would submit a letter of interest to be on the zoning board. And so I was appointed to the zoning board and fell in love with it.
Sure.
Like love with the public service, getting to help make a difference in that. And that zoning board just opened my eyes up to wanting to be a trustee.
Okay. So what community issues are of most interest to you?
This is a hard one.
I mean, like everything is, I'm sure, but there are probably some specific things. Like you said, there were a couple of things you were really interested in. You wanted to talk to the mayor about. What were those things, and maybe those have evolved over the last year or so.
It's always runs back to the neighborhoods for me. So my concerns with him were why we weren't doing certain things in the neighborhoods, but we were putting money on Prospect. I mean, that full disclosure was what initiated my conversations with him. So it to me runs back to how do we create thriving neighborhoods again? How do we create this community environment or these neighborhoods like I grew up in?
Yeah.
How do we have all these kids there, and how do we have them in our school district, and how do we have these moms that have community pride? Like, how do we support the school district and the neighborhoods to have that thriving outside of our business district?
So have you found answers to those questions yet? Have you answered that?
I think we're working on it.
Yeah.
I think that we are working on doing some things to improve some of the housing markets. There are grants that we're looking into and things like that that will help improve some of maybe the older homes that we have. I'm not sure if we've necessarily addressed the question on how we make the school more desirable to people who don't live here. Like, I know that we have a wonderful school system and people are very happy there, but how do we draw people based on our school?
Sure.
Other thriving communities, that is a huge drawing point, and I want us to have that too.
Sure. So the mayor has talked a lot about restoring a middle class to the Heights. After the Pabst plant closed in the early 1980s, 35 years ago, the community lost about 25% of its population, more than 2,000 people, and really has not regained that population. And so is that important to you as well, as bringing back that middle class?
I mean, I think it definitely goes hand in hand, of course. Like the people, we need middle class people to live in our homes that want to be here, that want to give back to their community, that want to send their kids to the school district, that want to be part of public service. Like, all of that rolls in to having that thriving community.
Sure. So you've only been on the village board 9 months, 10 months, so you're one of the newbies, right?
I am.
So I'm curious, what surprised you about this position? What did you not anticipate coming in? Or maybe there haven't been any surprises, maybe because you had been on the zoning board before and we're kind of used to that a little bit.
While I was used to being on the zoning board, I still have had some shocking things. I felt because I was on the zoning board, I was fairly knowledgeable about how things worked in public service and stuff like that. But I have been surprised on how much I still have to learn. Like, you never stop growing, right?
No,
you
that's
always
right.
can learn. But I have I didn't realize there was so much for me to learn.
Yeah.
So investing that time to learn all that, I think, was a little bit of a shock.
So talk a little bit about the time commitment, because I think a lot of people really don't appreciate how much time and energy elected officials put into their jobs.
For sure.
So how many hours a week do you think you put in? I mean, it's
at least at a bare minimum on a light week 5.
Okay.
I mean, at the very bare minimum.
While running a business. And,
right. But then like weeks like this week will be closer to 10 to 15.
Yeah.
You know, there's just a little bit more to that. I am very adamant on that if I was going to do this, I was going to do it 100%.
Sure.
Right? I wanted to make sure that I had my facts. I knew what I was doing. I was making decisions based on the knowledge, not just on what someone told me. So that takes more time too, because it is important to me to have that, like to be ethical about it, to have integrity about it. Like that is important to me.
Sure. I'm curious how you go about making your decisions. You know, what factors come into play, what questions need to be answered for you, and how you sort of balance that with what your perception is of what the public wants. Because I know elected officials get phone calls and they want you to do such and such, but they don't always have all the facts at their disposal that a village board member might have or city council member might have, whatever. So what drives your decision making? What factors?
I think I'm in a very good situation, maybe compared to some other trustees in the current or the
and
past.
You run a salon. Everybody comes in and
so
talks.
I get the perspective of being a business owner and being a resident. So I have 2 perspectives to go off of there. Plus, in my business, I am seeing people from all walks of life, you know, whether you are low, middle, or upper class. So I am hearing it from all these different avenues. So I try to find the happy medium, right? Like when I'm making my decisions, I am thinking about it like, what are people wanting? What do our constituents right now want? What do I think we need? And how do I think it will impact the future? I think all those things through to make my decision.
Well, let me ask you that. So let me follow up on that. So what do you think people want? What's your sense of what most Heights residents want from their village board, from their community?
I mean, just to throw it out there, I think they want low taxes in a great community and a great school.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I would take it.
And what do you think they most need? And obviously, you know, the neighborhoods are one of your big priorities, and so maybe it's improvements there or whatever. But
that's what I think we most need, for sure. I mean, whether it be starting with a sidewalk redevelopment plan, like these housing grants, I think all of the things that we want come from starting in those neighborhoods and improving those neighborhoods. Okay,
good. So what advice would you give someone who was contemplating a run for public office? A young person like you, much younger than me, for example.
I would tell someone that you have to be 100% committed. If you're not 100% committed to this, you're really doing your community a disservice. Right. It does no one any good to sit up there just to sit up there. Like you have to put the work in, and you have to be knowledgeable on the things that you're voting on, because it does make an impact on every other decision. You know, if you vote one way, there's a ripple effect to that. So you need to be knowledgeable, and you need to be willing to do the time and to do the research to be knowledgeable before you get up there.
So what most excites you about the Heights' future moving forward?
A
lot of things going on.
There is. I just love the growth. Like, I am excited just to see the ripple effect of all of these things that we're doing. So we're doing all this development, and we're putting so much time and energy in. I'm excited to see how that snowballs.
Yeah, sure. So I want you to finish this sentence for me, which is 3 years from today, or maybe more, maybe you run for re-election and get re-elected. So my tenure on the Heights Village Board will have been a success if. Finish that sentence for me.
Does it have to be a sentence? I'm going to make it a paragraph.
Make it a paragraph. Make it a chapter. Make it a novel.
I would like to say that if I make one positive improvement in our community, it would be a success. But I'm a reach for the stars kind of person. And so it would be a success for me if I can sit back at the end of my tenure and see some of these things that we're working so hard on and so diligently, actually see them come to fruition. Sure. You know, see streetlights, see, you know, upgraded homes, see sidewalks, see the graduating class be double what it is today. That would make it successful for me.
Okay, great. Sarah, thank you. That brings us to a close today. 2 weeks out from March, no more snow, and so long. We'll see you in the Heights, and remember to tune in to the next installment of Tower Talk. See you. Thank you.